Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to your Lunch Break Live. My name is Ivana. If you're new here, if you're not, thank you for coming back. Today is June the 21st. It is Monday. First, I want to take a minute to acknowledge all of our fathers and father figures that we celebrated yesterday on Father's Day. I hope all of you had a great day. Now, yesterday, although we were celebrating our fathers and our father figures, we know that comes off of a weekend that was filled with breaking news, many devastating news stories that we had over the weekend. One that a lot of people are familiar about, that many people are talking about today, is this horrific crash in Butler County where 10 people, 9 children and teenagers and 1 adult were tragically killed. Now, today I thought that it would be helpful, to recap what we know about this crash, answer any questions that you have. If I don't have the answer, then I will do my best to get it for you, and go over some of the photographs of this crash scene, this aftermath, I should say, of a vigil that happened at Reeltown High School yesterday afternoon, where 4 of the victims were high school students. So I'm going to pull up these pictures in a minute. I do want to go ahead and say that our own Carol Robinson, our public safety reporter, was set to join me and to talk about this crash and covering that story. And she actually got pulled out on some other breaking news. So unfortunately, that news never stops, but we are going to do our best today to go over what we know about this story and tell you what we are expecting to learn. So first, I'm going to go over kind of the P's and Q's of this, what exactly happened for those of you maybe who were not paying attention over the weekend, maybe were unplugged. And then I'm also going to pull up some photographs. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. This is a photo was taken yesterday at Reeltown High School in the Tallapoosa County area. And that is where 4 of these people were high school students. And I say people because we do not have their names. And that is another conversation we're going to get to in just a minute. But again, if you were not paying attention over the weekend, you unplugged a little bit, here is what happened. I'll go ahead and pull up some of these wreckage photos to illustrate this point as I give you the information. I'm sorry about those ads on the side of the screen. I do not mean for that to be insensitive. That is just unfortunately the way this webpage is displaying. So let's start out with what happened. So on Saturday afternoon, about 2:30, law enforcement responded to a crash. Now, this crash was massive. According to our reporting I've got in front of me, there was a total of about 17 vehicles involved in this crash. Of those, 7 were on fire. And of those vehicles, there were 2 that had people inside who were pronounced dead at the scene, who died of this crash. Now, in one of the cars, it was a small SUV, according to the Butler County coroner. This all took place off of I-65 in Butler County in the Greenville area, if you are familiar. These, at least one of the cars we're going to speak about was a large van. It has also been referred to as a bus. It was carrying people from the Tallapoosa County Girls Ranch. It's carrying several young people, teenagers, and at least 1 adult driver. We're going to get to that in just a minute. But in this crash, there were, again, about 17 vehicles involved. Of those, about 7 caught fire. Now, the 2 vehicles that we're going to talk about the most is a small SUV that was carrying a man, his fiance, and a baby. That man, we do know at this point, has been identified as Cody Fox. Cody Fox actually worked for the Emergency Management Agency in Marion County, Tennessee. I believe he was from Alabama. In that car, he also was traveling with his, I'm not sure if it is his fiance or his wife, but his partner, and then also his 9-month-old baby, Ariana Fox. We do know that the 2 Foxes, Cody Fox and Ariana Fox, they did pass away from that crash. I believe that Cody Fox was pronounced dead at the scene of the crash, and the child, Ariana Fox, was taken to a local hospital where she was pronounced dead as well. That is one car. Now we go to another car. And this is that ranch vehicle. So again, Tallapoosa County Girls Ranch, that is a place that houses many foster children that are placed in the care of the state there. That van was on its way back from Gulf Shores, which, if you are not in Alabama, if you are not familiar, that is a beach in our state, at the very bottom of our state, in the Mobile, Baldwin County areas where they were coming from. They were coming back up, headed back to Tallapoosa County, to that ranch where they lived, and this accident happened on their way back in Butler County. Now, of that vehicle. Again, it's been referred to as a van and a small bus at several different stories. So it's the same vehicle, depending on how you see it characterized. Now, in that vehicle, there were 8 victims in that vehicle. Here's what we know about those victims. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here. We're going to look through all of these pictures in a minute. This is pictures from a vigil that happened yesterday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, at the high school, at Reeltown High School, where 4 of those victims were students. We're going to get to those in just a minute, but before we do that, here's kind of a look outside that girls' ranch. It is supported by sheriffs of 3 different counties in Alabama. We'll get to that one in a minute. Anita's asking about GoFundMe. We will link that GoFundMe here. One of my producers can do that. There is a GoFundMe that is looking for donations to help cover counseling, medical expenses, and funeral costs for those people who were involved in the crash from the Tallapoosa County Girls Ranch. We will leave that information here so that you can find it. It should be noted that that GoFundMe was, at the time I started this video, it might have grown since then. At the time I started this video, it had raised $210,846. It had a $300,000 goal. Now, again, this money is going towards the funeral expenses of those people who were housed at that ranch, also for counseling for their other people who live at that ranch. There was a girl who lived at the ranch yesterday at a vigil that heartbreakingly sisters, because while they were not blood sisters, they did live at that ranch together. Now, let's go a little bit more. Tina said this is such a tragic accident. Again, I'm sorry for the ads on the side of this. This is from AL.com, our gallery there. I'll zoom in. These ads are display on our website, so I'm sorry about that. Do not mean to be disrespectful there. So this crash happened again. About 7 of those 17 vehicles caught fire. The county coroner in Butler County said he believed this crash was caused due to hydroplaning. If you were in Alabama on Saturday, you know that the weather was horrible. This is aftermath weather from a tropical storm hitting the beach there. So that's what we are assuming happened. We do know that the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency and the National Traffic Safety Board, you often hear referred to as the NTSB, are investigating that crash. So we should get more information on the crash, what caused the crash, etc., at a later date, waiting for that now. Let's go back to the crash. So this crash happened. There were several vehicles involved again in this crash, but the Tallapoosa County Girls Ranch vehicle, there were actually 2 of those vehicles that were traveling up from the beach. You might remember a minute ago I said they were at Gulf Shores. There were 2 vehicles. According to the Girls Ranch, they take a vacation twice a year. So that was their summer vacation, going to the beach. One vehicle was on the road. One vehicle was a little bit behind because they had stopped at a restaurant to have a meal. So that is why both of those vehicles weren't involved. It was just the one vehicle. So let's talk about the people from the Girls Ranch, Tallapoosa County Girls Ranch, that died in that crash. Now, this is what we know. We do not have their names. And it's important to note we do not have their names because they are juveniles and they are in the custody of the state. That is what this Girls Ranch is. And that is why we have not gotten their names. So 2 different reasons for those names, or the lack of names right there. We're doing our best to get those. We do know, this is from the coroner, those fatalities were a 3-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, 2 16-year-olds, and a 17-year-old. So again, ranging in age from 3 to 17, those 8 people killed in the Girls Ranch car, youngest 3, oldest 17. Now, the driver of that van, named in our story as Candace Gully, she is the director of that Tallapoosa County facility. Now, she is injured. I believe that we have reported she is in serious but stable condition there. And it's important to note that 4 of these victims are her family members. Now, we have, her son, daughter, and 2 nephews are among the 4 dead. So of those 8 people dead, let's recap, in the Tallapoosa County Girls Ranch vehicle, 8 people dead, again, ranging in age from 3 to 17. 4 of those people were relatives of Candace Gully, the director of the Tallapoosa County facility, and also the driver of that vehicle. She's in serious but stable condition. Adam asked, is there a GoFundMe set up for the family? So Adam, yes and no. So I say that because there is a GoFundMe set up. Again, the goal of that GoFundMe is $300,000. By the time I started this video, I believe it was at, I wrote down that it was at $210,846. That was a couple of minutes ago. It might have changed since then. This is a national story at this point. That has been set up for different reasons. One, for the funerals of these people, of these teenagers. One, for counseling, for the counseling of people at that girls' ranch, and also just for other medical expenses there. Again, we know the director and the driver of that vehicle is in very serious condition at the hospital. Somebody asked if there was a GoFundMe for that driver's nephews. Again, we know that driver actually lost her son and daughter, so both of her children, and then 2 of her nephews. I do not know if there's a separate GoFundMe there. We have only confirmed one GoFundMe that is from the ranch for those people. So I'll get back to you on that one. Now, the girls' ranch, I said yes and no because you asked about the families. Now, the children who were at that girls' ranch, I say children meaning young children and teenagers, they are there, which is a combination of people that are placed in state custody for foster children, children that have been placed there privately, and then also children that are with the family members who are chaperoned there. So it's iffy on families there. That's why I said yes and no on that, because many of the girls at that ranch do not have what we call traditional family. And I think it's important to note that traditional family marker, because yesterday, dozens of people gathered at Reeltown High School. And the reason they gathered there is because 4 of those 10 people killed were students at the high school. Now, people that gathered there included many of the people who live with them at the girls' ranch, other teenagers. And there was a girl who made a speech there. We are not releasing her name because, again, they are in state custody. But she referred to the people who died as her sisters. It was heartbreaking. And we have extensive coverage of that on AL.com that I will link here as well, so that you can read it. But it was heartbreaking, not really a dry eye in the room, according to our own Carol Robinson, who was there. Now, I'm going to get to some of these questions. Somebody asked about what exactly the ranch was. Now, let's make this clear. These girls at this ranch are not there because of their behavior. That is not what this location is. This location is for children that are in the care of the state via foster care, via private placement. So it is not because of their actions there. Question about why they were at the beach. Again, this is not due to their actions being placed at this ranch. This is a foster care facility, a privately placed facility. And according to people who live at the ranch, they take 2 vacations a year. One of them is a summer trip to the beach. So they were at Gulf Shores because of that. I'm looking through your questions. Somebody saying that they know that's a bad spot for hydroplaning. That is what Butler County Coroner Wayne Garlock has said, that he believes this was due to hydroplaning because of that horrible weather. We do know, again, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency and the NTSB are investigating the cause of this crash. Reagan, has there been anyone to witness how this tragedy happened? Now, Reagan, I'm glad you said that, because Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, you'll see referred to in our stories as ALEA, A-L-E-A, just an acronym there. They have been asking for people who witnessed this crash to reach out for them. Again, that's in our information, our story. I'll try to pull it and put it here in the comment thread. But they have been asking. I'm looking at my notes to see if I noted that as well. But we do know that this happened about 2:30 on Saturday in Butler County in the Greenville area. If you're not familiar with Butler County, it is kind of southwest from Montgomery County. Part of it does border with Montgomery County. So they were headed back from the beach. If you I actually have a county map. I'm not sure if this helps. but I'm going to show you anyway. So this is, let's see, this is Baldwin County where the beach is, and then this is Butler County. So they were headed back up to their home in Tallapoosa County. So that's kind of that line there. Butler County is this yellow county right here. So if you are not familiar with the landscape here in Alabama with the counties, that is where this crash happened. Again, was said to be in the Greenville area. Looking through again some of these questions. So Allison asked, can you please repeat the 4 people who were related to Candace who was driving? So I'm going to pull up those photos in a minute. Before I get there, I'm going to answer your question, Allison. So Candace Gully is the director of that Tallapoosa County Girls Ranch facility. She was also driving the vehicle, been referred to as a bus and a van in different stories, but she was driving that vehicle for the ranch. She is alive. She is in serious but stable condition. And we have reported that in some of our stories. We're monitoring her condition as well as much as we can. 4 of those 8 victims in that van are related to her. That is her son, her daughter, and 2 of her nephews were among the dead. So of those 8 people in that Tallapoosa County Girls Ranch, half of them were related to the driver and the director of the facility, Candace Gully. I hope that answers your question, Allison. Renanda says that there were people trying to help. Yes, Renanda, you're totally right. There were many people who tried to help this situation. 17 vehicles involved, about 7 on fire. A tragic thing to witness. I can only imagine. There are reports of people who were trying to help. We do know that Candace Gully actually escaped because, and I'm reading from our reporting here, the driver, Candace Gully, was pulled to safety by somebody, I'm assuming, who witnessed the crash and got out of their vehicle and tried to pull her out. That person reportedly tried to go back and pull out kids out of, and when I say kids, I also mean teenagers, out of that vehicle, and were not able to because it caught on fire. So Candace Gully was actually pulled to safety by a Good Samaritan. That person was not able to go back because that van and or bus was just engulfed in flames. So they could not pull other people to safety, excuse me. Karen asked, were all vehicles ones that were being driven, or were some on a carrier truck that were empty? Karen, we've heard that same. We're looking into that question. I will say that we are not sure if of those 17 vehicles, if they were all on the road being driven or if some were on a vehicle carrier. So that is a good question there. We are looking into that as well. People who have said they have seen the story on national news, and that is true. There has been every national outlet that I have seen has covered the story. It is tragic. We know that ranch located in Camp Hill, Alabama, in Tallapoosa County, there have been people who have been there. Reporters have been there speaking to people involved with that facility who work at that facility. And we know yesterday those people also showed up at that vigil at Reeltown High School where 4 of those victims were students. Let's not forget, though, there are those 8 people from the Girls Ranch dead. There are also the other 2 people, a 9-month-old Ariana Fox and a 29-year-old Cody Fox from Tennessee, who are also dead. They were in a separate vehicle. Again, they were not in that Girls Ranch vehicle. They were in a separate one. Somebody asked about, again, GoFundMe's. Those are linked. We have only verified the one that is from the ranch. It is helping out with those costs. Have not verified the other ones. I will make sure that we get on that as well. So I'm going to pull back up some of these photographs and I'm going to look through some of your questions. Now, somebody asked about asking why reporting was weak from official sources. Now, I can't say that I believe that it is weak, Philip. I think that we have done the best that we can. I think everybody's done the best we can there. But we do know typically in fatal crashes that the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency releases information on, they typically do not release the names of minors that are involved in those accidents, whether they are in state custody or not. So that might be a reason why we don't have some of the information that you're looking for. Secondly, again, this is a huge accident. It is said to be the worst accident in Butler County history. So I think that the officials there are still doing the best they can to gather information. Again, NTSB is headed to the scene to figure out what caused this crash, although it is believed to be hydroplaning. So I think as much as everybody wants an answer immediately, that information is still being gathered. Looking again through some of these comments here, trying to get all of the all of the information that I can. Somebody, Tamara claims it says Candace are her cousins, and the 4 victims that are related to Candace are also her cousins. Tamara, our hearts go out to you. I'm so sorry. Please get in touch with us after this video. We would love to tell your story and get in touch with you as well. So we'll reach out to you there. Debbie, who are the others in the crash that were not related to the girls' ranch? Debbie, that is the people that I mentioned a minute ago, a father and a 9-month-old baby girl, Cody Fox, 29, and Ariana Fox, 9 months. Now, they are from Tennessee, Marion County, Tennessee. It is believed that Cody Fox is actually from Alabama, a native of Bryant, Alabama. His fiance, Haley Anderson, and baby Ariana were in their vehicles. Again, Cody Fox, 29 years old, Ariana Fox, 9 months old, tragically killed in that accident. Fiance Haley Anderson is said to be injured in the wreck. That is according to her family members who have posted on social media. Cecilia says 4 of these children were the nieces and nephews of a parish member of her church. We are thinking of you, Cecilia, and of everybody in your church. Somebody again asking about witnesses. If you saw the crash, if you have photos, videos, information on the crash, please contact the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency. State troopers have asked for the public's help as they are trying to seek information about this crash. So if you have that information, make sure you get in touch with the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency. I will leave that information here at the bottom, but you can do that by sending photos, videos, etc. to an email. It's media, MEDIA, .relations, RELATIONS, at alea.gov. That's ALEA.gov. I will leave that here in the comment box, or you can share it on Twitter with them at Alea Protects, ALEA Protects, PROTECTS. That is how you can get that information to Alea. Somebody's saying that one of the people are here identifying these girls. Again, we do not have the names of these girls, these teenagers. That has not been released to us for, I believe, multiple reasons. One, that Alea does typically not release the name of minors who are involved in fatal traffic accidents, and also because they are in care of the state. So we have not gotten there. Karen asks, how is Cody Fox's wife? Karen, that is a good question. We do not know. She is speaking about Cody Fox, the 29-year-old who was killed in that other car, and his 9-month-old baby. Fiance Haley Anderson was injured in the wreck, according to family members on social media. We do not know her condition. We do know that Candace Scully, that driver and director of the facility, she is hospitalized in serious but stable condition. People talking about how NTSB is coming to the scene to try to discern the causes of the crash. That is true. We do know, again, Butler County Coroner Wayne Garlock says he believes that the vehicles had hydroplaned, and that is why there were that's why the crash happened. D, were there young survivors from the Tallapoosa group? D, yes. So these people from the Girls Ranch were coming back from an annual trip to the beach. There were 2 separate vehicles. One was on the interstate that was involved in this fatal crash on 65 in the Greenville area, Butler County. One was a little bit behind because they had stopped to have a meal, I believe at Cracker Barrel is what we reported. So there were people who were on that second vehicle, and they were not injured in the crash. And it is said that they did not find out that we're going to call them family members, maybe not blood family, but their family members had died in that accident until they got back to the ranch. And that was after that people had been sitting in traffic for hours on 65 while officials tried to clean up this wreck. This is a photo right here I'm showing of one of the vehicles. Again, 7 of those vehicles did catch on fire. Here's another photo. You can't even really recognize that it was a vehicle because it did catch fire. Do not have the names of these victims, so I cannot share them with you because I do not have them. But we do know their ages. I'm going to go over their ages again so that you can hear their ages if you can't hear their names. Now, those people, again, in that one vehicle, there was Cody Fox, 29. There was a 9-month-old baby, Ariana Fox. The people from the Girls Ranch, a 3-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, 2 16-year-olds, and a 17-year-old. 4 of those people were related to the driver, Candace Scully, and the director of that facility. The other 4 were teenage girls who were residents of that ranch. Somebody asked what fire departments responded. I'm not sure. I do not have that list in front of me. I'm sure there were plenty. Dennis asked, what is the website to donate? It is a GoFundMe page. If you're familiar with GoFundMe, people can set up accounts to fundraise for their cause. We will get that linked here. And this is the one that we have confirmed from the Girls Ranch. That is going to pay for 8 funerals, pay for counseling for the people who lived with these girls and with these teenagers, counseling and medical expenses for those injured. Looking through again some of these questions, we'll make sure to get this all linked here. Somebody asked where the vans at the front of the pileup. I don't have that. I don't have that information. I don't have a list of who hit when, where. I think that's something that we're going to have to get from Aaliyah and from the NTSB after they finish investigating. So we are going to wait on that. But I know that is something a lot of people are interested in, Philip. I'll make sure to share that as soon as we get it. And again, if you were not in Alabama, if you're watching from somewhere outside of Alabama, the weather in Alabama on Saturday was horrible. Rain and thunderstorms across the state from weather coming in from the Gulf. And again, Butler County coroner believes that hydroplaning was a big cause in this accident. People were waiting on the interstate for up to 5 hours, I believe. Now this, if you have not seen this photo, this is the Girls Ranch CEO, Michael Smith. He is speaking in this photo, I believe, to CNN, who was at the scene in Camp Hill of that Girls Ranch. This is a photo that we have from the Associated Press, and he was emotional talking about these girls, about the residents of his facility, and about one of their employees. Again, the Candace Scully, who's a director of the facility and was pulled to safety. Looking in some of these comments, it looks like there's some disagreements. I want to quickly address that is not necessary at this point. We're just trying to get out the information of what we do have and also get to honoring these girls and telling their story here. So let's not get into that, everybody. Getting a lot of questions about a GoFundMe for the Fox family. We need to look into that. I do not have that information on me, but rest assured that is something that we are going to look into. Again, we shouldn't forget them. Cody Fox, 29, and Ariana Fox, 9 months, were killed. Looking through, again, some of these comments for questions. And let's just make one more. I'm going to make one more plea here to please not argue about things here in the comments about nothing that is nearly as important as these 10 people who were killed in this crash that are not coming back, unfortunately. So we're just going to end this here with, again, 10 people dead. 9 of those ranging in ages from 9 months old to 17 years old. Only 1 adult killed in that crash, 2:30 p.m. Butler County on Saturday afternoon. We're going to leave all the information here in the comment thread where you can donate, where you can learn more about this tragic crash. Rest assured, here at AL.com, and I know all media will be following up on this tragic crash. We are going to be following up with Aaliyah and the NTSB as they continue their investigation into the crash. So everybody, thank you so much for watching today. Thank you so much for all of, it seems, your prayers, your thoughts, etc., to these families and for these girls and the Fox family. So thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.